The guy leans over to me and he says, "You're exactly where you're meant to be." Yeah. And I was like, did this guy really say something? And it's on one of the straightaways. 2 seconds goes by and I was kind of like, did he really say that? I've never heard anyone even say more than a couple words. Guy's gone. And there's a mile of visibility. And I was like, instantly, there was such clarity on this hike that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm right where I'm supposed to be doing. Mentally, physically, what I was going through. The guy leans over to me and he says, "You're exactly where you're meant to be." Yeah. And I was like, did this guy really say something? And it's on one of the straightaways. 2 seconds goes.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be when you're watching or listening to this. This is your first time here. You have just found the best damn podcast you've ever seen in your whole life. We are known as Old Guys Still Rock, better yet as OGSR. And today we're going to be in episode 145. So if this is your first time here, just press pause right now, even though this is going to be a freaking off the charts podcast episode, but go back and watch 144 other of the episodes instead of binging on Netflix, binge on OGSR. But again, my name is Blair Armstrong. I'm of Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker. I'm a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate. I am one half of the host of this show. On my left, possibly your right on the screen, is a good friend of mine, Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated. That dude with the glasses he just adjusted and his headphones that are on, that is Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated, again, located in Eugene, Oregon. Man with many different hats, from payroll companies to detail shops to body shops. He is a financier to his wife's, who is the boss. Remember that. She's the boss of Wright Wellness Center. So if you're in Eugene, Oregon, and you're looking for a different version of wellness, I would definitely go check them out. They have a state-of-the-art equipment from far infrared treatment to hyperbaric chambers. The list goes on, but definitely go check them out. He's also a part of a contingent of venture capitalists. A little bit less than a year ago, they just bought a business called bustedtees.com. So if you're into novelty t-shirts, go check them out. I don't know if you're having any specials going on right now, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But one of Brent's claim to fame is he's a really good personal coach and a really, really good business coach. So the guy's been around business. I've known him for over 30 years. I can attest to it. But again, if you're kind of stuck in a loop, that's why we always say go back and watch 144 of the other episodes and see if he's going to fit for you. And if you are, which we've had over the last couple of weeks, people reaching out, inquiring about acquiring his services. That's good. This guy right here sitting next to me is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for about 8 years. We actually met at not only church, but we met at a Bible study called Rooted, which was, I think 10 weeks, 12 weeks?
Oh, I can't remember.
It was
10 weeks. Yeah, I think it was 10 weeks.
It's a really cool program, but we became friends. I actually worked with his company for a little bit, which is Caritas Realty. He's also located here in the beautiful Coachella Valley. He's been embedded here most of your life, right?
I have, yes.
That's just great.
I have.
So I have Justin Barry of Caritas Realty, but we're going to get into his story here in a little bit. But before we get into that, Brent, how's weather out in Eugene, Oregon?
We're supposed to get 3 inches of rain over the next 72 hours.
So it's awesome.
Yeah. It's
you know what that means, right?
Yeah.
People get in accidents and have to bring their car to your.
Yeah. And their cars leak and all the fun stuff. We had a newish Dodge pickup. That guy was in here. Truck's been fine. Everything's been good. And he came in and full of mold and all kinds of good stuff. And he's like, well, what causes it? I'm like, you live in Oregon, man. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was a good time. The third brake light was leaking and it was $1,100 for the third brake light.
Is it crazy how much stuff has gone up over the past?
Well, yeah, it has 3 cameras in it. So all this cool stuff you guys think is cool on your cars, it costs money when you go to repair it. So, yeah.
Right. So here we go. Justin Barry, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is every episode now is just it's the best episode we've ever had because we're now in episode number 145. Super excited to have you.
Thank you.
But so anyway, what we're really going to talk about. So guys, I'm going to preface this today. We're going to get really into God today, which is going to be awesome. As you know, of our past episodes, somehow, some way, we always have a common thread of our faith in God today. But today we're going to get into it. Coming up on Easter, we're coming up on Good Friday. But a while back, you were going through some stuff.
Yes.
You were going through life,
going through the thick of it, for sure.
Right. Which I call on here, and Brent has some different things, but call it kind of, I got to the point and kind of licked a gutter.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So
sure. Yeah. Crossroads, whatever you want to call
whatever
it.
you want to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're coming in there, and one day, probably put on a couple pounds, if I remember the story correctly.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, I'm done. And what did you start doing? And then what's going to lead us into what we're going to talk about today?
Well, what we're talking about today, obviously, is our cross hike.
Right?
Yeah, a cross hike. But as far as getting into that, yes, I did do the cross hike as far as for working out.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of backstory to that.
Yeah, do that.
So back in 2013, I was going through a divorce.
Okay.
At the time, I was probably 250, 260, pushed 260. I was a big boy. But I was definitely at crossroads in my life where I was not sure what I was doing. I was about to go through this divorce. I had two kids. Was worried about if I was going to lose the kids, see them half the time. I wanted to figure that all out. And I certainly needed to figure out a few things. But I went ahead and started doing some research and wanted to, come back around, see how I can better myself. I was reading, Tim Bradley was fighting a lot at the time, and I was watching like his bio, and he lived here. He lives here locally, right? Yeah. And so he would, as a kid, would always run tramway. His dad would take him to tramway, and I was like, what he did before school. What the heck? I've done tram. I've gone up. We've ridden gondola, but I needed to figure out some things. Prior to that, I had reconnected with my wife, my now wife, Lene. We went to middle school together. She went her way, I went my way, but we were both family friends for a long time, and we reconnected. And again, just was going through the divorce, so it was just I needed someone to talk to, things like that. Come to find out, she was really into running. I'm like, okay, here you are, Justin. You used to be an athlete. You played high school ball. What's going on now? You put on some pounds. Like, okay, how are we going to do this? We need to get you better. So I was like, all right, let's go to the tram. So I did the tram the first day. Did my own walk. It took forever, and I was exhausted. If anyone's ever done the walk or anything to it, like to my core, I was beat. I was beat down to my core. But the emotional challenges that you go through on that walk, I really knew I was in the right place. And again, I had just barely started talking to Lene. We were just friends. Everything was cool. And I called her from the top. I was like, hey, would you do a 5K with me? Again, I'm pushing like 250. This is my first run. I haven't.
Well, let me say this. How much do you weigh now?
180.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to kind of give us perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
Of right there, 250.
I should have said that, yeah.
Well, it's all right. No, but which is awesome. Because being 250 pounds, a lot of people don't know how to get back there, but you were determined, like, I'm not going to live this type of life, especially kind of being an athlete. And then now I'm newly divorced. Kind of think this one girl's cute.
Yeah. I mean, I was in the thick of it. So, I mean, full disclosure, I was in the thick of the divorce. It takes a while to go through, and I was not in the right headspace.
Right.
So going to the mountain, if you will, I didn't know, but I was not in the right headspace. And I think that a couple people would go there and tell you that you're crazy to go to do this hike. They would think you're crazy. It's intense. But because I was in this headspace, I fell in love with it so much. And I knew that I wanted to pursue this girl. I wanted to pursue her, and I needed to get in the best shape possible. I had a couple things going for me. So I ended up getting up to like 3-4 times a week I was doing this. And so I'm doing this hike. Needless to say, move forward. It became part of my lifestyle. And 3 months later, I was about to go through the final stages of the divorce. And at this point, I'm kind of seeing Lene. We do this run together. I'm in the, still in the crossroads in my head. Am I still in the right place? And this was my big aha moment with that hike. And everyone that I talk to that does it regularly has some sort of magical moment. But I was on the hike, and I came up to a corner, and now we're in August. We're in August of it's 110 plus.
And you're walking.
You're walking this road. Yeah.
And by the way, guys,
To
for you guys
clarify, it's 110 in the morning.
In the morning, correct? Yeah. It's 90 at sunrise.
and
For
two,
sure.
in this road, literally is, I mean, it's insane. I think
I have the stats, but it goes from like 8. It's at like an 8 to 10% grade
all the way.
on average. At peak, it's at 14.
Yeah.
I think interstate highways are max out at 6. Anything over 6 is like dangerous, right? So I mean, this is a very steep. You go up almost 2,000 feet, going realtor on you. You go up 2,000 feet over the course of just 3 miles. So you go up elevation quite quickly, and so it's mentally exhausting. It's mentally draining. You really break yourself down physically, mentally. So I should go back. During this time, I was really leaning into God. Wasn't a huge faith guy, had my beliefs, but I was going through divorce. I was going through some mental struggles. And so I was really leaning into that. And I'm by yourself on the mountain. You might have your headphones in, but you're doing a lot of talking and walking, right? And now I'm at the end of the divorce. Court cases is scheduled. I'm looking at, child support things, my head's a mess. Visitations, and I falling for a childhood friend, you know what I mean? So like I'm all over the board, and I'm on this walk. I said, I got to do it. It's August, 110. I mean, people's shoes are melting on this road, and I'm just praying and I'm walking. And I said, give me some clarity. More than anything, I need clarity, and so I can have some peace.
Right.
I'm struggling here, God. And because you've done the walk with me, you don't see a lot of people on this hike. You don't, cars struggle with the air conditioners going up it, but we're on this hike, and you might see someone, but they're struggling too. So you might get a little wave. You might get a nod. Yeah. Hi, good morning. Maybe that's it.
I don't have enough to talk to you right now.
Yeah. You're like a little hi, what's up? But I'm going up, and I see the guy coming down. I said, I did my wave. I usually just, hi, good morning. And the guy leans over to me and he says, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Yeah. And I and I was like, did this guy really say something? And it's on one of the straightaways, and I know exactly where it's at. Like 2 seconds goes by, and I was kind of like, did he really say that? I've never heard anyone even say more than a couple words. And I turn around, guy's gone. And there's a mile of visibility. And I was like, instantly, there was such clarity on this hike that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm right where I'm supposed to be doing, mentally, physically, what I was going through. I already knew the mountain was special, but it was more of a workout thing for me. I knew that had some connection and powers, if you will.
Yeah.
So so that's my testimony to this. That's awesome. To the mountain. Man. Fast forward.
Woo! Gonna get deep right away.
Fast forward 3 years or so. Lene and I obviously start dating, get married. We join church at the Red Door where you and I met, and just get really deep with Jeff, the pastor over there, and start talking with him. I remember that there was a service about a month before Easter, and he's talking about the last days of Jesus. And we're going through what exactly was going on, and going into his hike as well. And he references Matthew 15. I can't remember the exact verse. Forgive me. Essentially, you need to carry your cross. And Jeff turns to everyone, and it was his closing, like, are you carrying your cross? And he just kind of asked everyone that. And I sat there. It was the end of service, and everyone left, and even my wife, I think, everyone's in the hall, and I'm like, what can we do? How can I carry my cross? I know that this was a metaphor. He wasn't meaning it. It was figurative, right? And I'm like, can I physically carry my cross? And there was the beginning of our cross hike.
So for those of you who don't know, we do this so every Good Friday. So Justin put this together. I actually show up to him for the first time that we did it was just him and I. So again, remember the staple of this. So he has this, I don't know what you made it out of. What was it? It was a post.
So the story gets even funnier. At the same time of this happening, and we're coming up with the idea for this cross hike, my kids had one of those jungle gyms.
Yeah.
And it was time to take it down. It was falling apart, but it has a big beam on it. And I'm like, what can we do with this? And I thought, I'm going to have to start burning this thing down. I'm going to make a cross out of this. I'm going to make a cross out of this jungle gym.
Yeah.
So we have a 12-foot cross that we put together.
Put a wheel on it.
We put a wheel on it. And
Right.
that's the number one thing that people say to me, like, "Oh, I wonder if the first cross had a wheel on." Of course it didn't, but
Yeah.
I also don't want to get in trouble with a city road scraping up.
Sure.
Yeah. So we do have a tire on the back, but it's heavy, and that the road is heavy. The road is heavy itself.
I would say it's a good probably 20, 30 pounds.
I think it's more
than that.
Yeah.
So it's a very heavy. So anyway, we get down to this. We meet the base of the road. You heard that we just go 2,000 feet to the base, wherever we're at, entrance of tram to go to the top of the mountain. So the first year that we do this, it's just Justin and I. And so we carry it up. There's no drop off. Like now we have people that drop off cars to the top or take us back down to the bottom. So not only do we have to carry the cross to the top, which is awesome, which we're going to get into, like the meanings and of all these things has made us change for it. And Brent's going to have a bunch of questions on here too. But we get to the top and like, okay, that's awesome. Now we have to get back down.
Now what do we
have to carry the cross down, which is actually harder.
It was,
because now you're, instead of like pulling or like, pushing the weight, you actually have to, you're basically kind of pulling in a roundabout way because you're holding it back to you because that cross wants to go faster than you do.
Correct.
And you're like, no, I can't wait. Which there's a little bit of a metaphor in
it
that,
was.
right? You
Yeah,
can't, don't
definitely
go too far behind the cross and do that stuff. So, but
also the cross will carry you if you need it to.
Yes.
Because on the way down, it definitely helped pull us down to the bottom.
And that was a hot day. We were gassed afterwards, but it's been awesome. But so Brent, before we get kind of more deep into that, do you have any questions?
No questions, some comments. So it's ironic. The last 4 or 5 weeks, our Bible study has been in John and leading up to the resurrection, and we're talking about it. So when Blair brought this up to me, I was like, this is my jam right now. This is everything that I'm interested in, not just leading up to Easter, which, by the way, I've done a little bit of research in the last couple of days since he brought this up. And I saw a meme about it. So everything's kind of aligning. The meme was hilarious, by the way. It's this guy, and he's like, so imagine yourself talking to Jesus back in the day, and you're sitting there, and he says, so tell me again how you're going to celebrate my resurrection. And he's like, well, with a bunny rabbit and eggs. And he's like, so didn't my words specifically tell you to not worship false idols and pagan gods? And he's like, well, yeah. He goes, so why a bunny? And he's like, the word Easter is a pagan word for a god. And he's like, okay, called out. And he's like, why the eggs? And he's like, it's symbolic of your resurrection. And he's like, I don't understand. And so it's this parable about him talking to Jesus about the reason why and how we go about celebrating it.
Right.
And ultimately, Jesus, like he typically does in the Bible, he doesn't outwardly condemn. He asks questions that lead you to condemn yourself in the process.
Right.
And so I found it very interesting that you're doing this, and it's almost like you're making light of the fact that, or not making light, but more in alignment with celebrating the real reason for the resurrection compared to the whole process that we go through of the bunny and the candy and the eggs and all these pagan things that are more common. And so I looked it up, and chat had some interesting things to say about it. In essence, it's saying that we do Easter because it's in this, and we do it in the springtime because that goes back to the 1700s, that we were trying to celebrate the rebirth, and spring is a natural rebirth. So chat kind of formulated this around a positive thing, although completely ignoring the fact that it's a pagan holiday in essence. And a lot of our holidays are pagan holidays. They're brought forth from that. But I found it interesting that you're trying to do something that's more in line with the celebration of the resurrection and the work that was done and the pain and suffering that Jesus went through to save us. And so I congratulate you. I want to say I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
I've seen Blair do the walk. He's video called me while he's on the walk.
I have done that, right?
Yeah.
I have done. So, and I think it's pretty awesome because, here's the thing. Justin was kind of going through some stuff. I want to go recap when he was just walking by himself He's trying to figure out life. He's going through, he's kind of got stuck in that loop. I'm going through divorce, which, some of us does. Brent and I have gone through divorces,
Yep.
And so when you're trying to figure that stuff out, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like, in the back of your mind, especially when you have faith and it may be new and I'm kind of in faith, I'm out of faith, or, I have a relationship with God, or my relationship is kind of back on the back burner right now. And how God puts those things in your life like that. I mean, having that one guy out in the middle of nowhere, right?
Nowhere.
I mean, that literally, you guys didn't really get to see this because I have a hat on today, but everybody started. The last couple of days, the last couple of episodes, my waterworks have been off the charts.
Mhm.
But anyway, the point of it is like how God will send those people and put them into your life just to know that, listen, I know that I struggle with my relationship with you, Lord, but here's just one of those signs. 'Cause everyone wants a sign, right? Everyone wants a sign. But how you took that and go a couple years later, sitting in church, what am I going to do? Get this freaking jungle gym, a bunch of wood that really went in there. Like, God puts in your mind, build a cross. Build a cross, bring people together.
Bring people together has been the biggest thing. So I'm gonna call you out a little bit because your guys' show is called Old Guys, and I'm not gonna be part of that. Okay, I'm not gonna be part of that. Okay,
but you do have 4 kids.
I do. I have 5 kids.
5 kids.
Yeah, I do have 5 kids. So yes, now I have 3 more. You forget because the last one's twins are twins. So I do have 1-year-old twins. Lene and I have a beautiful family. The older kids are awesome. They're doing their things.
Right.
So Joe and Abby are my older kids that I talked about, and then we do have, and they're awesome. So Lene really wants to do the hike this year, but she's like, wait, Dawn with 3 kids, I don't think we're doing the 3 little kids. But I'm gonna call you out a little bit on the old guy stuff.
Okay.
So our first year was 2018, and we actually had 9 people. It was our second year that you and I did it alone because nobody wanted to come back because it was so hard. We were the only ones crazy enough to go back and do it. Obviously, the following year was COVID, so it kind of got shut down, and we've had to take a little bit of a break. But yeah, the first year was 18, and when you're saying bringing people together, we had people from every single person there was from a different church other than you and I, and we just had different relationships and conversations about what was good, bad, ugly, what we like about each thing, each church, I should say. But there, I've seen some amazing things happen on that mountain, and then going forward to when we did it again, I've seen grown men, big burly men, just start crying. Like it has moved some people so much. And again, it's physically hard, but there is a spirituality up there that you get because you're breaking yourself down. And going back to what Brent said, we are reflecting on what Jesus went through on what we call Good Friday, right? And it does not compare to what he was going through whatsoever. But it is just a small token, if you will, of like how we can just say, like, you broke yourself down so much to give us so much that we're gonna, for what the very little that we can, we're gonna do the same thing on that day. And Good Friday has become kind of going into what Brett said, has become a little bit more important to me and my house. Obviously, I have little kids, so the Easter thing is a thing. But Friday's good because Sunday's coming, right? So
right. When I had a chance to reflect on this, because first of all, we tried to do it last year. Some things happened. I think the babies were newer, and how old are they now?
17 months.
Yeah, so they were just babies. And there was just so much going on, especially being twins. But anyway, the point I started reflecting on that, and this kind of what he said, and Brent, you and I talk about this a lot is like, there's no white horse coming to save us, really start maybe thinking about reading the Bible, even if it's just life instructions and those type of things. But then reflecting on just this moment that you're going up there is not only is really don't talk to anybody else when you're carrying the cross, because it's so much, it's a physical demand, which is not why we're doing it, but it kind of locks you in, and you really think about, and this is where I was talking to Brent and I was talking to Justin about this. You start reflecting. I'm like, where am I at? Where am I on my walk? Where have I stumbled on my walk? And when I say on my walk, my relationship with God, and my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my kids, my relationship with my friends. And you start reflecting this. How do I become better? here I am carrying this cross. And the only reason I'm here today with all of the stuff, and you guys know that my past life before this podcast, way before this podcast, was a little bit of a, it was a little bit tainted. It was tumultuous. A lot of toxic relationships, a lot of bad decisions and stuff like that. But then you start thinking, it's like, okay, when you're carrying this cross, and both of you can go ahead and bring on this, but when I'm carrying this cross, is that what he did for me to get me to here, out of all the times I could have just taken, if not followed his direction and gone a different path, but he's like, no, Blair, you're coming with me.
Well, you've chosen to take the hard path now, right?
Well, 100%. I made the choices.
The hard path is where the magic happens. We talk about it all the time. And so you put yourself in a hard situation because you want to make a damn difference, right? Which is our shtick, by the way.
Right.
And not only that, but bringing it to light so other people can see what you're doing to hopefully spur them to ask themselves a similar question. What am I doing to make a difference? And can I be a part of this? So that way I can hopefully, they see something in you, Justin, or they've seen the change in you and they want to emulate that. Everybody wants to be successful. And if you're successful or providing some air of success, people want to associate with that with you. And so they've now can attach themselves to a small piece of this to try to create an opportunity for success. That's leading the charge. And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You know, in 100%, Brent, on that. And I think that is when people, that's the next question I have for you, Justin, is, okay, you built this out there. And I know the answer is, but I wanted you to kind of explain when you first saw that. We're cruising up the hill for the first year, even the second year, third year. I think this is going to be year number 4,
This is
right?
our 4th time, yeah.
So, but you're going up there. What type of responses are you getting from people that are not in the walk watching us go up the hill?
You know, I'll tell you this. So the last time we walked up, and because this happened on site, there was a guy who was a tram runner. And I think he said he was visiting from Scotland. It was in Europe somewhere. And he said, what are you guys doing? Because I get there early. I get there way before the sun comes up to put this thing together. Because again, it doesn't fit in my car. I put it all together. And the guy asked, "What is this? What are you doing?" As I'm putting a 12-foot cross together. And he says, I told him what we do and how we do it on Good Friday because of the day. And he looked, and I thought he was going to just start crying. He thought he was just going to, and he said, I have not seen anyone do anything like this. You don't see it anymore.
Right.
Nobody talks about this.
Right.
Nobody brings it to light. No one, is this for real? I said, yeah. You're welcome to join us. He says, well, I'm going to go run. I'm going to be up the top. I'll see. So he ran to the top.
Right.
And as we were heading up, I think we were about halfway up the mountain. He's running down, and he stopped about, a good 20 yards before we got to him, and just watched as our group, I think that was last time we did it. We had like 15 people as we walked past, and you should have the tears and just euphoric, everything about him. He dropped all of his guard and he just watched us walk up.
Yeah.
So you're asking like the response, that one was straight up. The guy emotionally lost it just watching us. He wasn't part of it.
Right.
I think in life. So that one was probably my favorite, for sure, because I couldn't tell you his name or anything, really about him. But he was like, "This is amazing because no one does this."
And how funny is that, right? Because I was raised in a Catholic household. I can't remember if you were.
I was not.
Okay, so I was raised in a Catholic household. We kind of did the Good Friday thing, but really didn't have that real understanding of this. Nothing against Catholicism and stuff like that, but as a younger kid, you kind of just go through the motions because your parents tell you to. Once I decided to go ahead and be rebaptized as a Christian, you have a different meaning, especially older in age. I think I was, when I'm 50, I'm probably right around 47, 48 years old when I got rebaptized. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that this Good Friday, which is massively important in the walk, because Easter's great, but that was like, I'm taking everything, I'm taking all of your sin, all of it, putting it on this cross, and I'm wiping it away. And people really just kind of And until you fully realize that, and I'm not saying that people will have different walks. You may realize it earlier. You may realize it right now. You may realize it a little bit later. But and I think that's one of the things that I love, that you have this, because you get a picture, you get a feel, you get a better understanding when you're carrying this cross up the road of everything that he took from you and put it on him and buried it on that cross. Because how powerful that is. And so when guys see that, right, and you do these different things, and it goes back to Brent, you and I always talk about, we just want to save one, right? Just one more starfish every day, just one more starfish. We may have a podcast that has, 125 views or 1,000 views on YouTube Shorts. That doesn't matter. If it affects one person. He just got done saying, okay, listen, this one guy had this monumental moment. The ripple effect that you created, this little thought that you had in your head about carrying across, the ripple effect on that guy, probably you will never see the end of it.
No. And
how awesome is that?
And it happens regularly. The walk gets harder. I'm wondering if I start putting it together and putting it out there, and like having my kids who have taken over and start doing it. Is it something that I cheerlead at some point? You know what I mean? Am I still the one walking it? And every time I question it, they're always within minutes, hours. I mean, right away. The first song that we did when we put all of our stuff together, the first one, Beautiful Name of Jesus, right? And whenever I question it and I'm just talking to God, that song comes on. And it's like, okay, I'm listening. You got it. I'm involved. I'm still doing this. Right. But yeah, I mean, there's been so many moments from this, moving things, bringing people, old friends. I have a couple guys that walked with us different times, the first year, the second year, or third year, whatever. And it just brought me back closer to them, that we kind of had falling out, what have you. But another really key moment from the first walk, my daughter was 8, and my older kids were raised in a Catholic household, Catholic church. So they were very well versed, better than me. So so when I was going through it, I'm listening and learning from my kids a lot at the time. And my daughter went to pick it up as we built this. And we're building out, getting ready for the first hike. And she's like, Dad, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, yeah, the hike's hard. You'll be fine. And she says, no, I don't think I can do this. But I think I can be like Simon, and I can help somebody carry the cross. I was like, whoa, like out of nowhere. Didn't bring it. I had to go like, yeah, sure. And then look it up, like who's Simon, And so Simon helped Jesus carry the cross when he dropped it so many times. And I mean, that's the story as the story goes. And so like my kids blow me away with it too. Right. Now Fjord wants to, he's seen the videos that we've put together. He wants to, obviously he's 5. I'm not quite there. I don't think he'd make the first turn of the walk without a cross. So, you know what I mean? We're going to tread lightly on that one, but he's getting built up, and it is changing. So even if it's just in my household, now we've incorporated, now we do the night before playing football, sports growing up, you always carb loaded the night before. Right. So we have turned Thursday night, which was essentially Last Supper or Passover. And we do, because my wife comes from a Jewish background, her dad's Jewish. And so we bring the family over for the night before and do kind of like a menagerie of carb load and Passover, have a couple things. It's a great season, right? Spring is such a great season. And we do get hung up on Easter and the commercial side of it, I guess you will, but there really is a deeper meaning behind Easter. And yes, we say we're thankful for the resurrection of Jesus, and we're so, that is why we are saved. But he died on the cross, and leading up to dying on the cross, he took this incredibly difficult road. And crazy thing is that the road is 3.8 miles from start to finish. What the hike we do is 3.8 miles. It's a 6K. Estimates, it's hard to tell because we're in Jerusalem, how the actual path was, but best estimates are somewhere between 0.4 and half a mile. That first year, we had 9 people. It was 2 of it. It was me and you that doubled up. Yeah. But we did exactly between 0.4 and half a mile each person up that road in that, so it equaled the same, around the same amount. And so there's just all these symbolic moments from the hike that when you really start talking deep and thinking about it, it's like it's really, really a great spot. And I really want it to become something. I want it to keep growing. but organically in a way that I want who wants to be there to be there.
No.
For sure.
Yeah, talk about, it sounds, Brent, to you and I, what you always talk about, sounds like you just ripped a hole in the universe, right?
Yep, 100%.
And now it's got to be filled, right? So is this something that he's been praying on for a long time? And he's done a really great job of getting it together. Even, a couple of years, we were like, maybe we don't do it. We ended up doing it. It was the two of us. And then, last year we got more people in there. And just, I think the big thing that I see out of this, Brent, and I'm going to kind of let you expand on this, is that when we feel like it's just not making a difference,
that's when you should do it.
When you should do it, right? And he kind of said this, like, should I really do this anymore? Maybe, this time will come. There was a talk about, like, I think I'm just going to take the cross down and just take it apart and be done with it. I just think, remember that conversation?
I mean, it was, what we did, because COVID happened. And I often think back to this too. How many great ideas and how many possibilities did we lose with the global pandemic? Because we didn't do it for 2 years and we kind of just lost momentum.
Right.
More than anything, that's all that it was. We didn't want to do it. We wanted to do it. It was like, oh man, that's really hard. And we couldn't get together anyway. So we're like, whatever. Right. Yeah. So how many great things did we miss out on? That's a side note. Sorry about that.
No, but it's not. That's a perfect segue to that, because that's a reason is sometimes we're giving roadblocks and we feel that's done. We talked about this, the pinata effect, a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes you got to keep slugging that pinata before the fruit comes out. And so now here we are, Brent, and all the things that you've heard Justin say and I say in the things that you're doing with your church, right? And maybe this gives you a different perspective to take back to your church. And like maybe, and I don't know, because I don't go to your church, so you get to fill this in. It's like maybe have a different perspective. Not saying you have to go build a cross, but paying more attention to the Good Friday, because I think that's such a big missing piece of not only just of our faith, but just really in life in general, is like, remember all the people that basically created our path for us. We're using Jesus as our path, who created our path for us. But there's other things that you can use us as a metaphor to do that.
So there's 3 or 4 really key times where people go to church where they normally wouldn't go to church, right? So Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and I think there's one more. But we've decided in our men's group last night that we're going to set up at church for Easter Sunday, that we're going to wash everyone's feet. In our men's group, there's about 23 of us. We're going to get together and we're going to set it up and we're going to wash everyone's feet before they walk into church. And the symbolicness of that, it just,
massive.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. So you guys might consider adding that, right? So you might consider adding some of those other things. Now, I'm not saying take 700 lashings, before you go up, but something, challenge yourself, I guess, every year to add something to it to symbolize the process. Again, wouldn't suggest getting a real set of crown of thorns, but that might be an opportunity as well, at least.
Honestly, you said crown of thorns. We had a real big bloom like last time we did this, and it was very crazy. We were walking, everyone went past me, and because my shoe got stuck. And I had to go back and figure out what's going on. And there was a big vine. I actually took a picture of it. I took a picture of it. And as I'm walking up, I broke off the vine and there was like 2-inch thorns. I don't even know what this bush is because we don't have that here. It was very strange. It was odd. It was on the walk and it came across our road that we were walking. I just bound it up, turned it in, and then we hung it on the cross for a couple minutes. When we took a picture, we took some pictures, but it was just like, I've never even seen this plant in the desert. Why is this here? Haven't seen it since. It was just, I'm telling you, there's been some real magical moments for sure. But yeah, I want to add, I think that's great to add it. I don't know, washing the feet on the way down, they're burning. You might, and this year's looking to be really hot.
We're supposed to be 100 degrees by
Monday.
Next week. Yeah.
Monday's 102.
So, and we're in March.
It's early.
It's way too early. We had such a great year last year. It was just so pleasant throughout, even through June. But, I think the big thing, we're kind of in this conundrum, whatever you want to call it. Kind of the same thing with you and I, Brent, with this podcast is like, we want to get it to the next level. We want to get to the next level, and our lives are going so busy to everything like this. It's one of those things that Justin wants to promote. It's kind of, and maybe I'm speaking on a line here, it's kind of not in your wheelhouse to go out there and like, if you want to be there, be there. But there's so many good reasons to promote it. So how do you do it where you're not feeling like you're being salesy maybe?
You're 100%.
Okay.
Like I'm not trying, again, I say I want it to be organic. I want people who want to do it and understand what they're doing, but maybe not even understand it. Cause it's like you were saying, you save the one, right? Jeff, our pastor, just texted me yesterday, of all things, said that, hey, just giving you heads up, so-and-so that you brought to church decided to get baptized, and they were getting baptized last night. And, like, hey, thank you for bringing them to church. Yeah. And like, so you're talking about the one, right? And so that just happened last night. And maybe that's what this is. Maybe there's someone, again, I mean, the road changed me when I was in one of my darkest times, if not my darkest times. I say that, but it was also one of my lightest times too, right? Yeah. Because there was a reason why we go through these things. I love my life. I love my wife, and we have a beautiful family, business, household, and all these things that wouldn't have happened without this dark time. Right. So there might be someone who doesn't know Jesus, who isn't very faithful, who needs just a little pep. Maybe they're an ex-athlete and maybe they just want a good workout. But when we're going, I'll tell you this much, we have music playing, we're worshiping the whole time. Yeah. We pray before, praying throughout. And I know when I'm carrying the cross, I certainly am praying because, man, it rocks me. I always end up usually taking the last leg. And the last leg, when you're in the parking lot going up to the actual tram, it's a 14% grade. So two times over the legal highway limit, right? So it's intense. I passed that one off this year. I don't know. We'll see.
It's funny because you say that, because now you pop in memory. We kind of get to the end, and you, like Justin was saying, you have 14 times. You're kind of wanting to, after you take maybe you're the first beginning session or second or third or whatever, that part, especially when you have a bunch of guys, you kind of want to have that cross at the end. There's a little bit of like, no, I want it. I want to get another chance, but you don't want to jump into somebody else's experience at the same time. But there's like a bit of me, like every time, like I kind of want to be the one to get it over the finish line.
It is yours, brother. You can take it, because I'll tell you, it's a difficult spot.
It's a hard spot because your legs are burning, your shoulders hurt. It's heavy. I mean, you're probably right. I'm guessing at that point in time is not only you're pulling it, so you're bruising a little bit. On your shoulder, and you have to switch sides and different things. Mm-hmm. But again, it's locking you in to what is really important. And I say for me, and a lot of things that we've talked over the last 144 episodes of this stuff is like, don't give up. Just keep going. Look at what this guy did for you. Again, we're using Jesus as a metaphor in this podcast right now, everything that he did for you. But maybe you haven't crossed that spot of your life to have that type of faith to believe in that. Maybe this is the episode that you start digging a little bit deeper into finding out what the best part of life is and having that relationship with God. So whatever that is, maybe you're hearing this and you're in Coachella Valley for Christmas, or Easter vacation, and you want to be a part of this. Super easy to find us. The point of it is if you're kind of missing that something, that void, maybe this is the beginning to start filling that void. And Brent and I have said this adamantly. The only void that, when you have those voids, the only way that can be filled is with God. There's nothing else that you can do. Some people make different decisions, which I've done in the past, fill it with alcohol, fill it with drugs, make some bad decisions. You're trying to fill that emptiness. At the end of the day is really, at the end of the day, the only way that you can really do that is having a relationship with God, not religion. I want to take religion out of this.
100%.
This is 1,000% a relationship. Just like Brent has his relationship with his wife is growing every day. Chrissy and I got married, like Brent and both of us, we got married late in life, and we're learning and we're filling different voids and different things on this stuff. So,
well, I challenge you to even do something like this. For the main reason that it will drastically change your perspective on everything that you're doing. You can't not be affected emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, all of those things, if you're not challenging yourself. No. And so again, I'm happy that you're here. I'm grateful that you're trying to make a difference and that you're challenging people to go out and seek what they should be seeking and hopefully find what they're looking for.
And it's the same thing too. If we have this conversation, obviously, we really spotlighted Justin and everything that he's done today, but I also don't want to lose the sight of what you and your men's club did. Your men's Bible study did, is coming up with it, having like, what do we do different to make this important day be more recognizable outside of the Easter bunny and the Easter eggs, which we all grew up with. And I'm not saying we have to get rid of that. It's fun and it gives it this, but understand the true meaning. And really going back to Brent too, as being that servant mindset, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're the leaders of this church, but we're just the same as you, but we're going to wash your feet and really kind of not only set that tone, but set that standard. How do I become like, I don't know the other guys, I'm using your name right now and the other guys in there. How do we become more like Brent? How do I become a better servant leader? And I want to become more involved with my church. I want to teach my kids this way. I want to be a better husband. And just by that little special washing the feet of really, again, we always talk about the ripple effect or the butterfly effect on that, of how it's going to may not affect everybody the way that we want to, but maybe you have 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, 20 people that go through that church and like, that changed my life forever.
Well, even if it just changes you 1 or 2%, that's the impact. That's the impasse we're looking for. So I want to, I know that we're getting a little bit long here, but I want to kind of bring this home. So take religion and Christianity completely out of it. Just let's go back to the story. So find out that you get told that you're going to live 12 more hours. What do? Do you take a servant mindset and start washing people's feet? Do you go to the bank and get all your money out and blow it on cocaine and fun? Like what is, everybody's got their own take on what they would do at that point. But you get told that you're going to live 12 more hours and you're hanging out with your buddies, eating some food and drinking some wine. What do? What's the first thing that comes to mind? It's not typically that I'm going to serve others, right?
Right. No, it's not.
So
right.
Looking at that, that's what brought us out of our Bible study last night into this scenario of the foot washing. It wasn't just a symbolic gesture to tie these 13 people together. It wasn't, it was fulfilling prophecy. We know that, but ultimately I'm going to die. What am I going to do in my last 12 hours? And what am I going to do to make a difference?
Yeah, and that might be something, because we always talk, pep talk, sports, right? But we always do a little pep talk before we take off. But that might be a great way to start the morning this year. Hey, if this was your last walk and you were being forced to, like, where's your head at? Because I always encourage, like, put something at the forefront of your walk. You're all struggling with something, or you're asking God for something, but really think about it, at some point during the walk, because if you're asking, it's very possible you're going to hear an answer. But if you were in your last hours of life and this is what we were doing and you were being forced to do it, where's your head at? What can we do? What can we work on?
Yeah. Going back to that one comment, right? You're exactly
where you need to be. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing, man.
It's awesome, man. It's just so good, dude. And I love this, that we're a couple weeks outside of Easter, and maybe this starts setting the tone for us to go down there. And it's not just Easter, realistically. We use this as a monumental day to kind of put it in remembrance, but really it's kind of, I'm glad that we're doing that. I'm sad that we missed it last year, but it is what it is, right? So now we can go ahead and carry this tradition, get some more people, maybe really, really concentrate and build a momentum of whatever we have. Maybe there's just 3 of us. Maybe there's 20 of us. We don't know.
We've done it with the 2 of us. If we have to, we will.
We'll do it. Oh, for sure. But the point of it is that carry that cross every single day, win that day every day. Just what Brent said was another great scenario is, if you had 12 hours to live, what are you going to do? Old Blair would have said, well, I'm going to go get a freaking half gallon of vodka and we're going to just go and have a party and let's do whatever. Now it's to the point of like, okay, I'm just going to, I want to spend time with my wife. I want to spend some time with my kids and do stuff and just really just not say much, but just suck it in. As I mentioned, Brian Burdage was a good friend of mine from Eugene, and Brent knows him. And we were out there on the golf course, and we have this epic shot of the valley and the mountains of this one hole. I want to say it's hole number 15. And you look around, you're like, it's really cool. because you get to do that stuff. And so it's the same thing is like, even though that, I mean, from my house to the tram road, it's a 40-minute car ride, some 30-minute car ride. And you get there and I don't want to drive on the car. And you're kind of going through all this stuff. And I typically take a wrong turn somehow. And then finally I'm on the tram road. But the point is you get there, I'm like, and how cool that is. So I'm excited to kind of hear your experience in a couple of weeks, Brent, of kind of how it does. It's going to, I think the cool part about it is, and I know that you're not doing it for you, but how much it's going to change you.
Well, we talked about that last night. There's two types of people. The people that feel served by doing the foot washing and the people that feel served by getting their feet washed. And they're two different experiences.
Yeah.
And similarly aligned, you know, those people that are getting their feet washed might get more out of it than the person doing the foot washing, and vice versa, right? Yeah. And so each person's going to have their own experience and their own epiphany, if you will, hopefully, that comes out of it. I think the goal here, guys, again, taking the religion, Christianity, anything out of it, what are you doing and what are you thinking about to try to go out there and make a difference? Are you experiencing anything in your life that you could help others to make that difference for them?
Beautiful. Well, brother, it's been awesome to have you on here, man. I'm so glad that God has put you in my life and now you're in Brent's life. And so that's cool, right? We got another starfish right here that we can and do that stuff. But thank you for your dedication of keeping this rolling. We're definitely I'm going to get our social media person to really promote this and see what happens out there and do some stuff. But any final words for you, brother?
No, I mean,
actually do this. What's the date of the walk?
The 3rd. Oh, you would ask me that, right? It's like 21 days from today. Yeah, it's the 3rd of April.
3rd of April, which is Friday.
Which is Friday.
We meet at the tram road at what time?
I want to start walking at 7.
Okay.
I mean, I'll probably be there, I don't know, 5:30 or so, just setting things up and getting ready for 6 o'clock. But yeah, we're gonna take off at 7. We'll start with a little prayer and let's go.
Boots on the ground at 7.
Yeah.
So balls in the air, boots in the ground. So anyway, so if you're out here again, April 3rd, which is Good Friday, be at the tram road. Realistically, be there at 6:30 to kind of get your shoes tied and stuff like that. Sometimes it's windy, even though it's going to be hot out. Sometimes it's cold in the morning right there.
Yeah.
Because of the elevation. And sometimes it's hot. So be prepared for both.
Correct.
And we'll have waters and stuff like that. And we'll have people once we get to the top to help us get down or get some cars to bring us back up. So anyway, again, super grateful that you're here today, sharing this experience with you, sharing your being really, again, transparent of sharing your life, right?
Thank you.
That's a big deal for guys. And I hope that all the guys that are listening to this, even women that are listening to this, is really understand that it's awesome to share your story. We talk about that all the time. It's good because it's going to help somebody else out. And maybe they won't be on the tram road with us, but they'll be watching this episode. But maybe we have the bandwidth, and I can't remember up there, to kind of run a couple lives while we're up there.
To a certain point,
right?
We do, and it's again another one of those magical moments. You lose cell service right towards the bottom or the top, and so unless you have your music saved, it goes silent, and you really do get lost for a minute. But yeah, we can certainly do some lives towards the bottom when we first get started. I mean, for the first hour or so, you really can.
All right, Brent. I make sure. Any final words for you, bud?
I'm just really thankful and grateful to have you on sharing this, because I think this will make a difference in people's lives. I'm hoping that it will, just in an incremental way. Anything that we can do to further the cause, to get people to take action.
All right, guys. Again, this is way before Easter, so you'll kind of get us out here in the next couple of days. We'll get you to see this episode. But if you have any questions regarding this walk, or you may want to, maybe this spurs something that you want to do your own, we'll get you. Just reach out to me. And I'll get you in touch with this guy, and then he can kind of tell you how to put things together, like ripping down a jungle gym and make a cross out of it. But realistically, until we see each other next time, guys, stay safe. Most of all, God bless.
The guy leans over to me and he says, "You're exactly where you need to be." And I was like, "Did I really say something?" And it's on one of the straightaways. 2 seconds.